times, and we see each other out at the fair sometimes, and big hugs and everything, because we know each other. And I bet they wish that they had never had this, so they didn't have to come in here, and they were just at home getting ready for Thanksgiving. But this family comes in here every single year. Karen is here to go through and tell us the whole story from beginning to end, is why you guys are here today. It started back when your daughter was just 8 years old. Tell us the story.
October 2007, she got to the point where she couldn't talk straight. I took her to the emergency room, and they did a CAT scan, and doctor came in and just told us it was a brain tumor. It was the last thing I would have ever thought he'd say.
And it went from, and these stories are just way too common. Everything was fine, and then, right, it happens all the time. Everything was fine. And whether it's a headache or what I knew now, and we've both gone through this, speech arrest, where it doesn't last for a long time, but the fact that she was speaking well, everything was great, and then all of a sudden,
she was sick for about 3 months with headaches,
yeah,
back and neck pain, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her.
Yeah.
Until finally I said, I'm taking her to the emergency room, and I'm not leaving until they tell me what's wrong.
So you guys live in Willow Springs,
Mm-hmm.
and so you took her where when you left the house?
I took her to Wake Med in Raleigh,
Yeah.
to the emergency department there.
And then after she was diagnosed, they said what?
At Wake Med?
Yeah.
After they told me, right away they were on the phone, got the ambulance, went to Duke,
Yeah.
and that's when everything really started going with her MRI. They did an MRI, and the next morning she was in surgery for about 4 hours to remove the tumor.
Yeah.
You said it was so fast, so where was your heart? Like, what happened to you when you were told this news?
I don't even know, like, where I was. I was in such shock, and I was trying to stay calm, and my husband was trying to stay calm for her. So it was really hard.
How many kids do you have overall?
2.
2. And so the doctors come out after the surgery. And where was your other?
My son?
Yeah.
With my sister-in-law's mother.
Yeah.
At her house.
Yeah. Because you do what you got to do.
I could barely tell you where my son was.
Right. So, and then the doctor comes out after the surgery. And what does he say?
He said it's cancer. I thought, it's a brain tumor. They'll take it out. She'll be fine.
Yeah. And told you what kind it was, what level it was, and what are they going to do?
All he had to do was look at it. He said he knew.
Yeah.
Just from taking it out, that it was medulloblastoma.
And tell everybody what that means, because you get into this world where you know what these words are, but 9 out of 10 people have no idea what that type of tumor is, because every tumor acts differently, right? Mm-hmm. So when they came out and they told you that it was this blastoma, what did you go, okay, well, what does that mean?
Actually, I kind of flipped out and left the room. I didn't know what to say. Yeah. But finally I learned that it's, hers was golf ball sized, and it grows by the brainstem. Yeah. And hers was wrapped around her brainstem, but thank God not attached to her brainstem. Yeah. That's why she was so sick. Yeah. Her brain fluid couldn't drain.
What all has
her spine.
What all has she been through since that moment that she was diagnosed?
She went through that surgery, and then a week later, 5 days later, she had to go in for another surgery and have a shunt put in. A permanent shunt.
And what was that for?
To regulate her brain fluid, because it wasn't, she had gone so long with it building up in her brain, it couldn't regulate itself. They gave her 5 days to try and fix itself, but it wouldn't. And so we had to have the permanent shunt. It's got a valve in it, so if her pressure gets too high, the valve opens and it drains into her abdomen. And she has to live with that for the rest of her life. It's going to malfunction at some point. She'll have to go in for another surgery and have it replaced.
How about medication and what you have to do now? I mean, this is, a lot of people think, whether it's adult brain tumors or pediatric brain tumors, they think, well, you go in, you get the surgery, they take the cancer out, you get some chemo, and then you go back about life. That could not be further from the truth. So you deal with this constantly, and the medication and the insurance, and how does that deal? I mean, it is a long term. Some of the insurance, I mean, I'll tell you ours, for example, they won't, unless you take, and you can share if you want to, the insurance that you have to deal with, or even if you have insurance now. But there was a medication, and I keep thinking every time, I got a situation, but I think about these kids and these families. So one medication, our insurance was going to make me pay, which I had to, $900 for 3 months of that medication. And I thought to myself, oh my God, how do families that cannot do this, that already spent every dollar that they can spend to take care of their daughter or their son, and now the insurance people will make you pay that kind of money because you couldn't. There's a lot of people that don't know about this too. A lot of medication will have a certain release. Well, now your insurance company says, well, we'll only pay for this medication. Well, it's a different release, a different time release. So you then have to deal with, well, if I change this medication to the medication my insurance is going to take care of, there's a big chance to have a seizure. You have this seizure, and now guess where you're going to end up? Back at the hospital, which you already can't afford this other stuff. So if you think about it that way, with your money that you're donating today for the research, and they also help these families when you get in that type of situation, and you're like, my daughter, they say that my insurance will only take care of this, but I can't afford to go back to the hospital again. But you do everything you can do. Well, the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation, they help you do that kind of stuff. So yours might not be exactly what I'm talking about, but there's so many people that have heard the exact same thing. So day to day, because she was diagnosed when she was 8. Now she's 13. But you still have to deal with this type stuff, right? And you're so thankful that you got such a beautiful daughter. Look at her with such a great personality. She's sitting right next to Mama right now. But it is big girl, big boy problems that you try to shield from your kids.
Yeah. I mean, I was like that. I thought she's going to have her radiation, she's going to have her chemo, and we're going to be done. Every time I turn around, something else.
What's it like when you hug Jamilyn today versus before she was 8 years old? What's the difference when you give her a hug today?
I don't take it for granted with my children anymore.
There's a song that kind of, I don't know if you have it, Peanut Butter. So Rascal Flatts, Things That Matter, Things That Don't. Do you guys have that? Just tell me if you have it. If you don't, I have it.
And the number is 1-866-975-CURE. It's 1-866-975-2873. We really need those phones ringing.